I hear you talking opinions, but where your facts at? I think it's time that we pull up and do a fact check. Wrong again, we calling you to the circle. I'm tired of hearing the bull. I'm questioning your discernment, Like how you question the people that's really earned it, the people that's really working. Type of stuff for the circus. Only move with a purpose.
Hey, welcome to the Buy What Right podcast. I'm your host, Ronald Robinson. I have my co-host with me.
What's going on, Kyle Drayton here? How you guys doing this evening?
Hey, man, what you think about this week in football? I think we had a good week. I think
it was a good week. Definitely some surprising upsets from what I saw, but I think it was a solid week of football. I was entertained for the most part. My bets didn't do too good, but too well. But we're still here.
Yeah, I think we had a really, really good, solid week of football. But before we get too deep into that, let's go ahead and show some love to our sponsor.
Okay.
Our sponsor, Sean P. McKee, LLC Lawn and Pressure Washing Services. Sean is servicing the Birmingham, Alabama, and surrounding areas for all your lawn and pressure washing needs: lawn mowing, lawn renovation, seedlings and flower care, pressure washing, rubbish removal, landscape, and design. Give him a call at 470-599-0296. That's 470-599-0296. I appreciate your patronage. All right, back to the actual show. There's a lot we could talk about. I don't know if you wanted to start anywhere in particular.
Nowhere in particular. What do you got for us?
All right, well, let's start with a little sportscaster news.
Okay.
Your boy, Stephen A.
Yeah.
Did you see him?
Yeah.
Did you see? You know what I'm talking about?
No, what'd he do?
When I saw it, I thought about you immediately, right? I haven't even told you about this, so I'm gonna drop it on you. This is a sneak attack. You know, he threw out the first pitch at the Yankee game at the Yankee
Stadium.
About
that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yes, I'm talking about that.
Okay, yeah. That
was what?
It was.
Well, first of all, if you guys don't know, Stephen A. had the opportunity to throw the first pitch out at a game at Yankee Stadium. I think it was this week, or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was I think it was last week.
You know, I'll give you one guess on how the superior athlete performed throwing the first pitch at the mound.
It was piss poor.
My boy dribbled that thing, man.
Yeah.
He was at least 10 feet short.
Now I know he definitely played basketball.
Well, once again, this goes back to these guys who are these sports, subject matter experts, and I don't care. I would get the ball across home plate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how far that distance is, but it was a bad throw. He tried. I think it might have been more so nerves. I think it was nerves.
This guy's on TV all the time,
but he's not actually doing anything physical on TV. He's just talking.
Oh, so it's kind of like he's not an athlete.
Yeah, it's like
yeah. Stephen had a rough one. And you know what? I will say this: his staff and the guys he worked with, they had a good time with it.
Oh, definitely.
So if you saw First Take. They had a real good time with it. Dan Orlovsky and his whole family got into the actual game. Yeah, it's a pretty cool video. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith, trying to be athletic, and it did not work out.
Better luck next time for him.
Better luck next time. He'll have it next time. He's popular enough. Someone to give him another shot to redeem himself. It won't be like
wasn't it at Yankee Stadium?
It was at Yankee Stadium. Yeah. It was bad, bro. It was bad.
Maybe the Mets.
It was good. He was good in the warm up area. Like his practice throws were pretty solid. But when he stepped up on the mound.
It went downhill from there.
Yeah. Some people just don't perform well in that kind of environment. So it just kind of you'd think it would give him a little pause as far as being such a harsh critic of when other people don't perform well. But I don't think he's gonna miss a beat. He'll disregard it like he disregarded his picks.
He's a licensed journalist, man. He has the right to do that.
Oh man, don't start that. You're jumping the gun, but we're gonna get into that because you know how I feel about that J word.
Oh yeah.
All right. So in other sportscaster news, we were talking about this quickly. Have you seen the Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco podcast?
Yes, that did come. I was watching. What was I on? I think I was on YouTube. I think I was watching like academics or something like that at first, and then I saw him on there with Ocho Cinco. I was like, okay, this must be like a short clip from like Club Shay Shay or something. I thought he might have had him on there, but then I started looking at other thumbnails on there, and it looks like I guess it's like an ongoing show that they have going on. Yeah. I thought it was kind of I didn't think it was weird, but I thought it was more so surprising because I know he had the. Ocho Cinco was on on a podcast I used to watch back in the day. I forgot the name of the podcast, but there was probably like maybe like a year and a half ago. I used to watch his podcast, and I don't think I've seen him on any other kind of like sports talk shows since then. But actually seeing him on there is just kind of like a breath of fresh air because I like his takes I like his personality, but I thought it was a cool look for that.
No, Ocho's cool. I really like Ocho. Just as a player, I've always been a fan. If I'm not mistaken, and I don't want to quote this, but I think they finally honored him and put him in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about when I did watch it. That's what they were talking about.
I think that was long overdue. At least as far as the Ring of Honor, I'm personally on the fence as far as Hall of Fame. His Hall of Fame numbers was ability to get in Hall of Fame, but he played in the league at a time where they had some really, really prominent wide receivers playing. You know, like he played, he crossed career paths with T.O. and some of the other big names. But I hope he gets an opportunity to actually make it in the Hall of Fame. So I actually bumped into him one time in where was I? I was in DR.
Okay.
Man, such a cool dude. Like, was very approachable, whatever.
He seems really down to earth.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I won't say persona, but the persona that he has online, I feel like that's also the persona that he would have in person. So he seems like a dope person. But I was actually really excited about that. I think I actually might check it out because, like I was saying, I like his takes on things. Like, he kind of makes his points are real personable in a sense where, he kind of puts things into like layman's terms and makes it,
I agree 100%, and I think he'll be a good contrast to Shannon Sharp. I'm going to have to be honest, bro. The more and more we get into this project, the more and more I'm watching different sportcasters just to kind of get information, kind of, gather info for the actual show and whatnot.
Right.
The less and less I'm a fan of Shannon Sharp. Yeah, man, that's not really anything for you to say. I just remember whenever our first, on our first show, I kind of like, yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a fan of Shannon Sharp or whatever. But the more and more I watch how Shannon Sharp goes about his business, the less and less I'm kind of impressed with it. And, I think he's very he's successful, obviously, and he's personable, whatever, to a degree. But I guess it just really depends on what you're looking for out of a sportscaster. I'm not looking for a sassy Sally in my sportscaster. He's very, very messy, for lack of a better word, and some of the things he talks about and why he's talking about them. And he doesn't really make a lot of picks. Like our show is about identifying the best sportscaster on a quantitative basis. Right. Like, we're not trying to find good sportscasters that people like. I'm happy that people like him, but that is not the measurement in which we're going to rank sportscasters. We're ranking sportscasters on their proficiency and their knowledge about the actual sport. He's an ex-NFL player, a Hall of Famer. You think he would be willing to give his opinion on the outcomes of these games a little bit more freely. But I'm watching the show, waiting for him to make picks, and they're far and few between.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't make picks, because I want to say based on the numbers that we're getting, I want to say, what is he only at, like one pick right now? Based on the information that we're getting, but from what I realized, even watching him in the past, he's not really one to actually make actual picks. He's more so of like a socialite in a sense, where it comes like, I'm just going to talk about the social aspects of the game of football, not really the actual outcome of the game, or not really the actual game. I'm gonna talk about certain aspects of the game. Let's talk about this one player. Let's talk about how this team won. But I'm not going to tell you before we talk about it, okay, this team won this week, but I'm not going to tell you if they're going to win next week. We're just going to talk about how they did win and why they won. But
yeah, if I had to equate him, and I thought about this, I was thinking about how to actually talk about this without being disrespectful or whatever. And I hope this doesn't seem like it's disrespectful. It's just an opinion. Once again, this is an opinion show. Right. We're just like sportscasters. Sportscasters talk about players who actually play in the sports that they're commenting on. Like, so they talk about football players, they talk about basketball players, and when they talk, they are very harshly critical. I'm trying not to be that, because I don't think it's really necessary. But sometimes it may come off like that. It's just me being honest about my opinions on the matter.
There's data to back up anything that we're saying at this point.
But this is not data driven. This is not this next statement is not a data statement. It's just my opinion on it, or how I would describe Shannon Sharp in the lane that I don't know if he's intentionally going down this lane or not, but he's kind of like the TMZ of sports to me. He's the TMZ of sports. Like, he's just like on some gossip stuff and like real sassy with his commentary about other people. It's like, really?
it might be the topic choices, because I think a lot of topic choices that he's choosing right now, they're definitely clickbaitable. So I think that's
maybe it's intentional.
It probably is intentional.
And there's an audience for everything. I think that there's an audience for that, and I think he's tapped into the audience, and that audience will continue to support him. And God bless him.
I'm not gonna lie, I watched him more when he was with Skip. I watched the Stephen A. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. Like, it's like watching LeBron and Kobe. It's just like, I like watching them separately, but I don't know if I would want to watch them on the same team together.
The duo, like Stephen A. On Mondays and Tuesdays, Shannon Sharp is on First Take with Stephen A. Smith. I watch it, obviously to gather content, gather information, and it's a pretty good commentary. man, I really don't want to say some of the things that's in my mind because I'm sitting here watching this show and just the mannerisms of these of Stephen A. I know this guy. I'm not gonna bash Stephen A. any more than I already brought up his pitching, so I'm not really gonna go over on Stephen A. But whatever, they're a good duo. We'll see how it goes. It could improve, but I think it could use some improvement.
I think it could use some improvement. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like both them individually are entertaining, but I don't know together if they're still entertaining enough for me to like tune in every week. Gotcha. I don't know. I think it was just better when the dynamic that Skip and Shannon had together. I just think that worked a little bit better as far as entertainment wise, because based on the numbers, I mean, they're not really talking about sports per se, so I guess it's mainly entertainment based. But I mean, I may be wrong. The numbers may say differently as far as the ratings, how that goes. But I mean, that's not really my business.
So real quick, let's talk about the ratings. Because that's what About What Right is about. We're about talking about the quantitative data that we're collecting on sportcasters making predictions on games.
Right.
So sportcasters make predictions on games. You guys, the users, go and download the National Sportscaster League app. And within that app, you guys are able to submit predictions that you observe these sportcasters making throughout the actual week and on Sunday morning before the actual games. So we track their predictions that they make, and then we see exactly, are they right?
Right.
We use that data that we're collecting to rank the sportcasters. So regardless of how I feel about these individuals, they could win the overall league. This is a sports league that really cares nothing about my opinions. Absolutely nothing. My opinions mean nothing as far as who's going to win this actual contest that we're actually putting on here. We're in week 3. We've had 3 weeks of football. We released our first leaderboard last episode. We had some great information. The data is coming in, and when the data comes in, guys, the data is giving us solid information, and that information is very surprising in a lot of ways as far as who is ranking, where they're ranking, and how they're going about doing it.
This is an individual-based sport, so I mean, we don't control it. I mean, it's not like it's a team sport. I mean, only they can control, the picks that they put out there, and if they're right or wrong. So I mean,
exactly,
that's on them. But like you were saying, I mean, if you have a sportscaster out there that you like or you dislike, or you just want to see how they rank against other sportscasters, watch their show, or however you want to listen to them talk about sports. Get that information, and when you hear a prediction, go log into the app and put that information in, and then see where they end up by the end of the week.
Yeah. So we have our leaderboard, our week 3 leaderboard. Let's go ahead and get into it. Yeah. We're going to talk about the week 3 leaderboard. Now, remember, in order for sportcasters to qualify for the leaderboard at all, they have to average at least 2 picks per week.
Right.
Since we're in week 3, they have to have a minimum of 6 total picks that they've made so far this season.
Okay.
And then based off their accuracy on their picks, that's how we're ranking the actual leaderboard. So first you have to qualify, and then you get ranked. So we mentioned Shannon Sharp earlier. He's not qualifying. I mean, he just does not make picks, or at least you guys aren't seeing them and putting them in the actual app. I look in the app all the time because I really enjoy the whole process of seeing them and seeing if they're going to make that pick, seeing if they're going to put themselves out there as an expert and hold them so we can hold them accountable. Shannon Sharp never does that, or very rarely does that. Let me say never. And as far as I don't see him, and you guys must not see him either, because you guys aren't putting the actual predictions in there. And week 3 was our biggest collection of predictions thus far.
Yeah.
I think after week 2, we had 263 predictions that were captured in the actual app, and the app is available in the Apple Store. We are still working on our Google Play version of the actual app, but we're getting closer to having that one ready for release. We're a couple of weeks, if not a month away from having the Google Play version of the actual app ready for you guys as well. But we had 263 just using the Apple app. This week, we're over 430.
Yeah.
So we had almost doubled our total picks in this 3rd week. So we definitely appreciate you guys downloading the app. While you're watching and consuming the sports media that you're already consuming, this is just another way to engage in that actual show that you're already watching, a person that you're already a fan of.
And now that I'm thinking about it, when we do make the predictions, normally we see a lot of predictions come in that Sunday morning. And if you think about, like Shannon Sharp being low on the numbers when it comes to his predictions, the time that he's on the show is on Mondays and Tuesdays, right? So we get we'll have the Monday night game, but I think the time where his show falls, he doesn't really have to make predictions because he's always on the tail end of when sports happen. Yeah, he can make a prediction for the week coming up, but it's just like later on in the week, he's normally doing his social stuff when it comes to all those other types of, entertainment or, podcasts or whatnot. They're not really sports based.
Yeah.
So
For whatever reason, I'm
Right.
not going to sit here and say he doesn't have the opportunity to make picks.
Oh, he definitely has the opportunity,
He has his
but-
podcast. He's on enough shows, and he's only going to get more popular because I think people do like that energy that he gives out there. So he's only going to get more popular. So he'll have an opportunity to engage and make picks and show his proficiency as a subject matter expert in the sport of football. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He got a gold jacket. I think he would be great at it. He just I just think he doesn't see the value in it. I think as long as he could talk about random stuff, he'll talk about random stuff. He doesn't have to position himself as a subject matter expert on sports, or at least I don't know why he doesn't make picks. I'm guessing at this point.
We're in week. What is this? We're going into week 4 of football.
Yeah.
Based on the data, he's only made one prediction. I don't see him cracking the leaderboards.
It depends. I don't
know it's early
because
in
he's falling too far behind.
That's what I'm saying. I know it's early in the season, but I don't see him cracking the leaderboards at all.
Right. Speaking of leaderboards, let's go ahead and get into our leaderboard for week 3. Fair enough?
Do better, Shannon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping he does better. I would like to see him compete. You know, there's no question he's a competitor, but I would like to see him compete in this event. This is the people's sport for sportscasters. Go ahead and jump in and let's see.
We were talking about him earlier when a few episodes ago. It's just like he's one of my favorites for sure. So it's just like man, get on the leaderboards, make some predictions. But it is what it is.
I was a big fan. I'm a fan now, and I don't know, man. It just really depends. His content and what he's putting out. Now that I'm really paying closer attention to it, it's just really not what I would want to see out of sports media. But once again, maybe he doesn't consider himself sports media. Maybe he considers himself the TMZ of sports.
Yeah, this we'll get into the numbers, but I mean.
All right, let's look at it. Shannon Sharp did not qualify for the leaderboard, so he will not be on it. But we will start by going with the countdown of the leaderboard.
Where we at?
Let's go ahead and start at number 10.
Okay.
At number 10 on the leaderboard, we have, drum roll, Shada McCoy.
Okay.
Shada McCoy is currently 22 of 34 at a clip of 65% success rate. Shada McCoy. Now, last week, Shada McCoy was at number 6.
Oh, okay.
So he did drop. That's what the arrow is indicating there. He did drop from the number 6 spot. Now he's at number 10. So he's still holding on to the top 10. But he had a rough week. He puts a lot of predictions.
He puts a lot of predictions. I don't know if that's helping or hurting, but I like that he's actually making predictions. I mean, that's, as a sportscaster, I feel like that's something that you should at least do. You know, make a prediction about something. I mean, rather than just rambling off every week about whatever the hottest thing in sports is. But I mean, I'm glad he's making a lot of picks. Whether he's right or wrong, I don't care, but I'm glad he's making picks.
I'm glad that he is willing to compete. And it's not just him. It's the format of the show. Remember, I talked about this show last week. This show is The Speak, is on FS1. We put some information out on our socials as far as my opinion that because of the way that they approach sports media, actually talking about the games more than they talk about frivolous nonsense, actually willing to make predictions.
Right.
I give that show a lot of value because these people aren't just talking. They'll make predictions. And not only do they make predictions, they make predictions on every single game when I see them, when I watch it. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch their show in week 2. So we may not have captured all the predictions. Remember, this ranking is only based on the predictions that actually make it into our actual app.
Right.
So the prediction that you guys put in the app, if it doesn't make it into the actual app, we can't count it as far as the actual contest and as far as ranking them on the actual leaderboard. So only predictions that make it into the actual apps are used to qualify it. So, but still, 34 is a lot of predictions.
Right.
All right. But he's ranked at number 10 this week, week 3, and it's a fall from the number 6 position that he held last week. Let's look at the number 9 sportscaster. And at number 9, we have James Jones.
Oh, same show?
James Jones, same show.
Okay.
Also, James Jones was much higher last week. James Jones fell from number 4.
Okay.
All right, number 4. But once again, a big number of picks, 34, a big fall. So, making a lot of picks can help and hurt you.
Right, definitely.
If you make a lot of picks and they're wrong picks, it hurts you.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely.
But if you make a lot of picks, you give yourself an opportunity to be a little bit more successful. Because last week, even though they made a lot of picks, they were much, much higher on the leaderboard. They just had a lot of bad picks this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you by chance get a chance to watch the show?
I didn't get a chance to watch the show, but if you realize a lot of the games this week, there was a lot of, I want to say, upsets. Like the Dallas game, that was a definite upset. No one thought that was going to happen.
No one?
Well, I mean, there was a few.
Yeah, Arizona thought it could happen.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about Dallas, and actually, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. We got a new segment with Slim from Alabama. Slim's gonna call in. He's gonna give us a new segment. How about them Cowboys, Slim? I know he's gonna jump on here and get wild.
I forgot. Yeah, that's his team. He might be a little upset about that.
No, I don't know. I've never seen that guy mad. Well, I've seen him mad on the court, but I've never seen him really upset in a social situation. He just got a ton of energy. So interested to see what he says about Arizona, because you're right. I guess people would consider it an upset, but everybody wouldn't consider it upset. Some people picked Arizona,
Right.
but most people didn't. Let's be honest about it. So James Jones made another fall. He fell from the number 4 spot, but he's still holding on to the top 10 position at number 9 with a clip of 65% successful on his actual predictions.
Last week, where was he at? You said
He was at number 4 last
he
week.
was at number 4.
Yeah,
The
so
way
he
it's-
fell 5 spots.
The way it's looking with the projections that they're making, since they both have fallen a lot, if they keep hopefully if this week if they don't make those predictions right, they're definitely going to be off the leaderboards next week.
We'll see. Let's go to the next one. At number 8, we have, drum roll, Mike Vick.
Okay. Good.
Mike Vick is at 67%. He barely qualifies to be on the leaderboard with 6 picks, but 6 is all you need.
6 is all you need.
So he has 6 picks, and he's at 67% and holding the number 8 spot. He's also fell. Last week, he was number 5.
Okay.
Last week is number 5, so he made a drop off. The only place I see Mike Vick make his picks is on Sunday mornings at one of the actual pregame shows before a game comes on. I don't know if it's Fox or Fox pregame or which pregame show it was, but it's a pregame show. He's not on any shows throughout the week that I've seen. But Fox, he always put picks in.
He's
and
in one of those.
That's enough.
I guess he's on one of those pregame shows where it's a bunch of people.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. But you know, he's still making solid picks. I mean, he was higher last week. Last week he was at number 5, so he fell 3 spots to number 8, but he still holds on to a top 10 position on the actual leaderboard. All right. Let's go to number 7. At number 7, we have Damian Woody.
Okay.
Damian Woody cracks the top 10. He was not in the top 10 last week. I think he didn't make the top 10 last week because he didn't qualify based off the count of actual predictions.
Okay.
But this week, his predictions that we were able to capture in the actual app increased. Okay. He broke the necessary number to actually be qualified for the leaderboard, and his percentage at 67% ties in with Michael Vick for the number 7 spot. Okay. So he broke in the top 10. Are you? Do you watch Damian Woody? I watch him. I think he's on Get Up. That show I seen him on Get Up, and
that's early in the morning. That's like 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I think that's why I saw him. I could be wrong on Get Up.
That's when I'm on my way to work. So
I know I've seen him. I've seen him on the show, and I think it's Get Up, but I could be wrong on that. I'll have to do a little bit more research on Damian Woody for our next show, because we're going to try to highlight a sportscaster and just give you a little background on those sportscasters. At least every other show. It may not be every show where we get the chance to highlight a sportscaster and give you some background on them. But Damian Woody could be a good topic. Because Damian Woody, I know he's an ex-NFL player. So he definitely is knowledgeable about the game. And he proved that this week by his predictions being at a high clip and breaking them into the top 10.
Yeah, Damian Woody's definitely on Get Up. Now I had to think about his face. But, yeah, he's on there. What's the guys? I can't even think of his other name. But, yeah. I seen it.
All right, let's go with the number 6 spot. At number 6, we have your boy, Stephen A. Smith. Man, Stephen A. Smith, he may not be able to throw a baseball worth nothing, but he finds himself moving up in the rankings. Stephen A. was number 9 last week, and now he's up to number 6 at 67%. Now he's tied, but I'll put him at number 6. That's fine. What do you think about Stephen A.? That's your boy. I know that's your boy. You a fan? I'm not, but talk about him.
I'm excited because I was feeling a little shaky about it last week because I was like, Stephen A. is my guy. I've been kind of rooting for him with this whole league coming out. And you were saying that you don't think it's going to benefit him at all. I don't see it benefit him either. But he's making the leaderboards. He was on leaderboards last week, right? Or he wasn't?
He was. Stephen A. Smith, he held the number 9 spot last week.
He barely made it. But, I mean, he's moving up on the leaderboards. I'm just excited to see him moving up on the leaderboards. I'm also excited because, he's actually making predictions. You know, so that's a good thing. I'm just glad he's making predictions. Now, like I said, whether he's right or wrong, as a fan, I'm glad he's right. But regardless if he's right or wrong, I'm just glad he's making predictions. My prediction for next week, I don't know. I think he might move up a little. No, I think he might sit where he's at.
All right, we'll see. If he can hold the number 6 position, that's great. I mean, remember, this is a long season. Yeah. We're at number 3. Weeks. This data is coming in, and the data, every time we see the data and the movement that happens when the data comes in, I get really excited because it's very interesting. Like, once again, this is the first time we've been able to rank sportscasters not on anything subjective, but on data, on hard numbers, because sports is about data, scores, points, averages, percentages. That's everything that sports is about. Wins and losses, numerical data. And up until this point, sportscasters were all graded on a subjective opinion base. And once again, I think that's incomplete in the realm of sports. So we're going to change that. But Stephen A. Smith holding the number 6 spot. Once again, he can't pitch a baseball worth nothing, but he picking some games. So I got to give credit where credit's due. Like I said, whether I like Stephen A. or not, has absolutely nothing to do. If he makes the picks and the picks are right, he gonna move up the leaderboard.
Well, this week he's a week 3 top 10 sportscaster.
He was top 10 the first week too. Well, the
Look,
second week too. So he's doing it, man. All right, I got to give credit. No,
Shout out
no,
to Steven.
yeah, it's all
Stop
good.
throwing baseballs.
All right, let's go to number 5. Holding the number 5 spot, we have Emmanuel Acho.
Okay.
I think it's Acho. I think I mispronounced it last week. Emmanuel Acho. Now, here's the crazy part about Emmanuel Acho.
What you got?
He's up from the number 7 spot, right? But he's on the speak as well. But if you notice, his numbers didn't go up as far as the number of predictions. There were no predictions recorded for him this week. Now, I don't know exactly if that's because the person who actually is watching the speak and inputting the actual predictions just didn't see his predictions, therefore they weren't able to put them in there, or if he didn't make predictions this week. I honestly don't know. I saw the show, and honestly, I don't recall seeing him make the picks. So I could have just missed it. You know, maybe I was grabbing some chips at the time or whatever. I don't know. But I didn't see him make the picks. But even without making the picks, he moves up because other people were so poor in their picks. So he did move up one spot. He was number 7. Well, actually 2 spots. He was number 7 last week, and now he's number 5. Emmanuel Acho from the Speak on FS1. So that's good for him. Like I said, he did a large number of picks earlier in the season, so he's able to miss a couple, or we are able to not capture picks and he still keeps his position on the actual leaderboard. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, keeps his ability to be on the leaderboard, even though he moved up 2 positions.
Technically he'll be here if he doesn't make any more picks. He'll be here till week 9. Yeah,
we'll see what happens. All right, let's go to the next person.
Who do we got?
At the number 4 spot, we have Keyshawn Johnson.
Okay.
Keyshawn is at 75% successful. He actually took a step down. Keyshawn was at the number 3 spot last week. And he moved down to number 4. Not a big fall, but a small fall nevertheless. I will say this though, if I'm not mistaken, Keyshawn only had 4 picks last week.
Okay.
And he has 8, so he doubled we doubled the amount of picks we were able to capture in the actual app. So
that means he's still making predictions. So
yeah, he's making predictions, and he had a really a decent. No, did he have a good? No. He had a decent week. But once again, 75% at the number 4 spot out of all the sportscasters in the actual system. Mind you, we have about 77 sportscasters now. We had a big leap in sportscasters that were inputted in the actual app by you guys. So we appreciate you guys once again participating. So now we're up to 77, and he's ranking number 4 out of 77. That's solid.
Yeah, that's good for especially for week 3. Like you said, he didn't make a big fall. Like I said, when I look at the leaderboards, I'm just glad people are making predictions. That's like my main thing. I don't really care. I'm neither here or there if they're right or wrong with their picks. It's just keep making predictions. So where he's at, cool. Do I think he should be higher based on the data? He's where he's at.
Yeah, he's where he's at.
Where he's
we'll
at.
Take it. All right, let's go to the number 3 spot. Now we're getting into the top 3.
Okay.
Top 3 at number 3 is my guy, Ryan Clark. Boom. Ryan Clark moved up. Ryan Clark was in the number 8 spot last week. He moved up 5 spots to the number 3 spot at 78% successful. I told you, man. Let me tell you something. Ryan Clark.
He's on the money.
Solid, man.
He's on the money.
Ryan Clark knows the game. He carries himself very, like I said, I equate Ryan Clark in the same vein of a Stuart Scott. Because you remember, in that particular time in sportscasting, Stuart Scott's time, they were animated, but they weren't like just sitting here yelling at each other, argumentative on some BS. They were about the sports. They had what I thought was a healthy respect for the actual athletes who go out there and put themselves in harm's way for our entertainment. Whereas these guys are just like this generation is just so disrespectful.
They're almost like we're getting into a realm where sportscasters almost have the same, I guess the same magnitude as these sports stars, so it's just like they feel like they're on the same level and they feel like they can talk about them in any way they feel like. But I'm happy to see Ryan Clark up there.
Yeah, Ryan Clark moved up. That's my guy. So and like I said, I was a fan before he was at the number 3 spot.
This is true.
Keep that in mind. Like like I said, he adds a certain level of respect to the actual profession that I think is falling off dramatically. So we'll talk about that another day. Ryan Clark in the number 3 spot. All right, number 2, we have Dan Orlovsky. Now, here's what's crazy about Dan Orlovsky. I'm not gonna say I'm a fan of Dan Orlovsky. I've seen him. He's fair. He's fair. He's very knowledgeable. Ex-quarterback in the actual league. So quarterbacks typically are very cerebral because you have to be for the actual position. Right. Dan Orlovsky had a huge week because he wasn't even in the top 10 last week.
Oh, he's fresh on the board.
Fresh on the board all the way up to the number 2 spot. He had a huge week with his actual picks. I don't know exactly how many picks he made and how many were accurate, but it had to be obviously at a very high clip for him to jump, leapfrog everybody and find himself at the number 2 spot.
Because if he didn't make it last week, then he didn't have 4. So at the minimum, say he had like
either he didn't have 4, or he didn't have the percentage wasn't high enough.
Oh, true.
Yeah. So, but once again, he finds himself in the number 2 spot, and that's pretty impressive. Like I said, as you get data, people can come in here at any particular time.
I like the movement.
Yeah, I like the movement.
Pause,
movement.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Oh man, let's go to the number 1 spot. At the number 1 spot, we have our guy, Chris Broussard.
Oh.
Now, I'm a fan of Chris Broussard. Chris Broussard was number 1 last week. He holds the number 1 spot.
He was tied with
Maria Johnson.
Yeah, she ain't even hit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you jumped the gun on me on that one. But yeah, Chris Broussard, let me stick with him just for a second. He was 4 for 4 last week. Now he's 9 for 10, which means he was 5 for 6 this week.
Mm-hmm.
That's solid.
Yeah, that's
4 for 4 last week, 5 for 6 this week, 90% success rate, and holds on to the number 1 position.
90%. That's
really high.
Good. Yeah.
But once again, as you see, as we go through this thing longer and longer, no one's at 100%. Remember last week we had 2 people at 100%. And I think this percentage, now that I think about it, it's going to start going down. Yeah. And then we'll see where we're at in week 18, what the number one percentage is. You know what I'm saying? Because it clearly won't be in the 90s. And if we had to take a guess right now, where would you guess the number 1 analyst on the leaderboard, what successful percentage he's going to have in, let's say, week 17, week 18?
63 to 67.
You think 63 to 67 going to do it? I think it may be around right where you're saying. I think around 60 to 65. Somewhere in between that area is where you're going to find the top guy.
Because if you think about it, it's week, what week are we? We're going into week 4 of football, right?
Yeah.
And you know how football is any given Sunday. So there's going to be picks out there. I guarantee there's going to be at least 4 or 5 more weeks where there's going to be major games that everybody thinks someone is going to win. Yeah. And it's not going to happen. Yeah. And I think that's going to be, a detriment to some of these people's scores. So I'm just basing it off of, analytics of how football actually is. So that's why I think the board is going to be where it's at. But based on the numbers of, where teams are ranking, on like a normal, we think this team should win because the numbers, they should blow out this team. Yeah. Those pits are definitely going to be right for the most part. But just those outliers, I think, is what's going to bring these people down. Yeah. I agree. I think we're going to find ourselves around 60, 65 late in the season, and we'll see exactly who's going to be there. But Chris Broussard has positioned himself in a great position, by being successful the first 3 weeks. Shout out to Chris Broussard. Number 1 2 weeks in a row.
Hey, let me tell you something about our leaderboard here.
What's going on?
We actually had a professional sportscaster who was on our leaderboard recently. Made aware of the actual podcast. Really? Made aware of this whole project. Now, whether he cares, I don't know. Whether he cares about it, I don't know. But he knows. Yeah, but he knows. Like, it got out there. The whole 6 degrees of separation thing. Like, I knew someone who had a direct relationship with one of the actual people on the actual leaderboard list and made him aware of the actual leaderboard list. But you got to laugh out of it. It's all good, and we'll see exactly if any sportscaster chooses to engage with this whole project, but just the fact that it's kind of out there, it's going to be good for the challenge segment. Oh yeah, definitely. The challenge, because like one of the things about the challenge, and we'll talk about the challenge a little bit later, but one of the challenges of the challenge was when it would make it to the ears of someone that's actually in the profession. Right. Now, whether they choose to engage or not, that's a question mark. But before we can even talk about whether they would engage in it, they got to know about it, right? Exactly. So it was pretty cool to find out that after the actual leaderboard was released last week, one of the people on the leaderboard was confirmed, made aware of the actual leaderboard and the whole project. So that was pretty cool.
Well, if you're watching today, try and make the leaderboard again.
All right, let's move on to our next segment. We've gone through the actual leaderboard here. We're going to move over into our next segment. Give me 1 second so I can pull up the graphic here. Okay. Now we're going to move into the next segment. The next segment is going to be just a series of questions, right? And our title of this segment is questions that need answers. Okay. All right, questions that need answers. I got a couple questions here, and I just want us to talk about it and see exactly, because we will be opening the lines up momentarily for you guys to call in and give us your opinion on some of these things. But one of the questions that I think need answers here is, can someone explain how a journalism degree makes you an authority on sports? Have you noticed this?
You know who I'm gonna talk about, but yes, I've noticed this. It's definitely prevalent in the sportscaster sport, but like I want to say we talked about it before. I mean, Stephen A. I mean, this is what this is a sword he pretty much lives and dies on all the time. He says he's the one of the first black licensed I want to say columnist or whatever it is back in the day. But I mean, that's what he lives and breathes on. It's just like he actually has the the professional backing to actually make to give an opinion.
Yeah,
and that's what he's kind of
that's what he's holding his hold. Yeah. I call it BS. No, he can give an opinion.
Yeah,
but like. I don't know. Yeah, I don't agree with that whole thing. Just because you're an analyst, just because you have a journalism major, I don't think there's anything in the tenets of journalism that says, yeah, because I have a journalism major, I can give an opinion. You could write a story, you could research it, you could articulate a story in a great way to actually be presented to the actual public for consumption.
Right.
But this whole concept or this whole notion that the facts are. There's a lot of people that sit up there and consider themselves or position themselves as subject matter experts on sports, and they haven't played the game in a lot of cases.
Right.
But they're a journalist, and I have a journalism degree. Well, so what? Like, does a journalism degree? I don't understand. Okay, so if you have a journalism degree, can you go do open heart surgery? Just because you have a journalism degree and you've researched some things about the surgical profession, no, it doesn't. Like how
or
exactly?
Give your opinion on how open heart surgery should actually be, or the right protocols and open. Yeah, I see what you're saying, and that's the thing about when people say they do have a journalism degree and they hang their hat on that. Yeah, you can give your opinion, but doesn't mean that your opinion is accurate or your opinion is right, or we should actually listen to your opinion. Like you're saying, the only thing that it gives you is that you're able to put it out for public consumption. That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually mean that, like I was saying, that you're actually right about your opinion. But
it's frustrating. I mean, it's one of them subjective things. Like I said, on the Buy What Right podcast, we will talk about the quantitative data gathered in the National Sportscaster League, but we'll also talk about subjective, issues concerning the actual field of sports journalism and sports media. And that's just one of the things that always irritate me. Like,
so you definitely don't agree with that?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not.
Now,
I'm not saying a journalist cannot be a subject matter expert on sports. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that, but I think there's some people who, anytime you ask them about sports, the first thing they run to is that they're a journalist. I'm a journalism. I was a journalism major. I wrote about sports here. You've watched a lot of sports, but I've watched a lot of true crime TV. That doesn't mean I would be a great murderer. Like it's crazy. Like they watch sports at a very close level, but watching it and experiencing it and knowing exactly the ins and outs. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that people watch when they watch sports that they're missing the big picture.
I need Draymond to call in the show one day.
Man,
I want to get his opinion on this, because I feel like this is like perfect for like Draymond or like the KDs, the world. Like, it's just like this is like right in the realm of what they complain. Well, I won't say they complain about, but what they argue against all the time when you have these sportscasters who make these bold predictions or these bold, these accusations or statements about, players or the game, and they don't really have a leg to stand on because they don't actually play sports,
or never played sports.
Never
in a
played
lot of
sports.
cases.
So,
it's crazy. Let's move on to the next actual question here. Let's see what we have here. Next question is going to be: can you be an effective sports analyst if you're biased towards a particular team or program? Can I say a little bit about this before I get your opinion on it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the reason I brought this one up is everybody knows exactly what's going on in Colorado. Great story.
Yeah.
Great story.
Very entertaining.
Great story. Very entertaining. It's easy to be a fan of anything Deion Sanders is doing. In my opinion, I have a coworker who disagrees with me wholeheartedly in my whole take about Deion. Is he good for the sport? Things of that nature. He wholeheartedly disagrees with my take on Deion and whatnot. And whether what's happening in Colorado is positive or not.
Briefly, what's your take on it?
I think it's great.
Okay.
I think anytime a coach can go and bring excitement to a program that's kind of been forgotten, dormant, for lack of a better way, dormant. I mean, they were 1-11 last year. That's great. It's a great story. Right. Like he opens up that program for a community that kind of liked, kind of not like, when I'm talking about like the hip hop urban community. Like, you ain't gonna see that program opened up like those individuals get the red carpet rolled off for them like that on Alabama's sideline or Georgia's sideline, even though, mind you, the players on all those programs love these people.
Oh,
but the
definitely.
only coach that's willing to actually open up and roll the red carpet out and use it as a tool for recruitment is Primetime.
Yeah.
Like, and it's pretty insane that no one else actually thought to actually do it. But yeah, he's doing that. So I think it's great. I think it's a great story. Now, as far as sports analysts being biased, my issue with it, I could think it's a great story. But when I watch sportscasters interview, like just everything that happened with, let's go back to Colorado State when Colorado State went to Colorado, right? When Colorado State went to Colorado to play that game, Prime, they had all these shows were set up, staged with the crowd behind them, and they just interviewed Prime, interview players, whatever. I didn't see one Colorado State person interviewed at all, not even in the locker room. If you can't roll them out in front of the crowd, okay, I get that. But you should have interviewed. It was a total and complete neglect of the other side of the story, which is Colorado State. You know, and it's been like that consistently, even leading up to the Oregon game. Yeah. A complete neglect of the Oregon program, and everything was focused on Colorado. That's just a biased position that sports media is openly taking, and they're not shameful or bashful about it at all. They're just completely all in on Colorado, and they're not really being timid about it. Man, am I way off here? Do you have an opinion on it?
I don't think you're way off, but I think we have to go back to why they're doing this. It's the ratings. Everybody knows there's a big hype around, Prime and, his son and, well, both his sons. I always forget about his other son on defense. I don't even know his name, but regardless.
Shiloh.
There you go. About his sons playing football. So there's a big, I guess, a big push to, see this story and kind of push the story. So, I mean, these other schools, they're not going to get that airtime. The only time they're going to get that airtime is when we're talking about Prime playing them, even though Oregon's a big school and, they're doing great, as numbers wise, but I mean, they're trying to sell a story. It's just like, where's Deion going to be? How are they going to do this week?
Man, I'm halfway in, halfway out on that opinion. Here's why: college football has never been one that lacks for ratings. Like college football, is so popular in this actual country. Like now, the ratings are good for Colorado's program. Colorado's program specifically is benefiting great from what's going on there. But as far as ratings in college football, man, college football is going to get the ratings, bro.
They're going to get the ratings, but I think they're getting more ratings with this Deion thing. Because if you think about it, I mean, you're getting people who don't even watch football asking about Deion and watching Colorado. I mean, I mean, like you said, they're bringing these hip hop fans into these arenas. You got Offset coming out there. You got Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne fans may not even like football, or they may not even like like these areas of where they're at. But they're following this person. That they see, oh, they're dealing with Deion. Okay, what's Deion got going on? Oh, Deion's over football. Now they're all into it.
I can see that.
So I mean that's a small I guess opportunity for that to happen. Now, is that right or wrong? We don't know, but I mean that could be a possibility of why that's happening. But as far as them being biased, I definitely agree that there's definitely a lot of bias, and we see that. I go back to my guy Shannon. When Shannon would he would always discuss LeBron. He always discuss the Lakers. As a sportscaster, you're a human. You have your favorites. Yeah. Now, do they all align? Like, do all these sportscasters actually sit on TV and align with the same opinion? That does happen, as we can see sometimes. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't like it. You definitely want these sportscasters to have their, I guess an unbiased opinion. But I mean, they got these people in their ears telling them what they need to say and, what stories they need to cover. So
I think some of them have a little bit more power than that, as far as they're not really having to be guided or having to read off a particular script. Right. The more popular ones, maybe some of the more not as popular ones do have a little bit, some of the things that they have to say are a little bit fed to them a little bit more. But I think some of the more popular ones do have a little bit more freedom. But let me talk another thing about the bias, atmosphere that's going on here. The Colorado-Oregon game. Okay. Oregon won. The coach had a little bit to say at the beginning of the game. They got beat. His pregame speech for his team. And I'm sitting here watching sports media acting like the guy said something out of bounds. Like I don't really get exactly why they're so biased toward Deion in Colorado that everyone had to shit on Paul. Everybody had to say something negative about the coach's pregame speech. That's what pregame speeches are like. Yeah. Like, it just so happened this one was caught on camera, and it may have been caught on camera on purpose. I'm not saying Coach Manning, I think his last name is Manning. Coach Manning didn't intentionally invite the actual cameras in there to see him making that passionate speech to his actual team. Whether you did or whether you didn't is irrelevant. It was a good speech. It
got the people going.
It got the people going.
Got the people
and
going.
they went out there and they did what they had to do. So, but that's what coaches are supposed to do, right?
This is a football coach. He's probably going to say way worse things than that. But I mean, it's football. I mean, there's going to be worse speeches than that have been said, and there's going to be way worse speeches that are going to be said moving forward. So I don't really see the big deal about it. Like we were saying before, there's a bias. They're trying to sell a story. So that's where they're at with that. But I think right now they're trying to paint the picture as not paint the picture, but I mean, Deion's pretty much like he's like the hero right now in the story. So it's just like everybody wants to see him win, which I think I want to see him win too. But I think it's just like it's a constant. Let's build hype around the game.
And I'm not saying I don't want to see him win. Trust me, I am pulling for what's going on in Colorado. I think it's a great story. But these people, once again, a lot of them consider themselves journalists. Well, there's some tenets in journalism, and if I think one of the tenets of journalism is that you can't be biased on one particular side of the story. You're just supposed to report the facts and keep a lot of your opinion out of it. And all I heard was opinion on the morning after Oregon did what they did to Colorado, and it just kind of was like, man, really, y'all really want to sit here and try to paint this guy, Coach Manning, as some kind of villain because he went out and coached his team to a win? Like, isn't that the point? Aren't you? Like, Jordan has used much less to motivate his team and find the slight to motivate himself to go out there and perform. Like, and typically your people are very complimentary about that fact that people are able to take a small slight and use it to, grind themselves into a frenzy and go out there and perform at a high level. Right. This guy did it, and all of a sudden he's a villain, and everybody on every show has something negative to say about it. I just thought that was wild.
Yeah, I don't like that. But I like this week coming up, who do they play? Is that when they
USC?
Play? Yeah.
You're talking about Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
USC.
we'll see what stories being painted.
Yeah.
This week, what's today? Wednesday.
Yeah.
So Tuesday. So we'll see what happens. But shout out to Deion.
Shout out to Deion. Shout out to Colorado, and shout out to Coach Manning and the Oregon Ducks. I thought they played a great game, and they kept their mouth shut all week. And I thought that was key. They did not give Colorado any bulletin board material. And Colorado, ironically, did give them bulletin board material. They went out there and stomped on the logo at the beginning of the game. Like, right after y'all was upset that Colorado State did it, then you go out there to Oregon and you do it.
Yeah,
that's wild. That was
wild.
But
I know we're not covering college football right now, but in you watching these different people talk about, Deion, just constantly talk about Deion, were they leaning towards Deion? I mean, I won't say Deion, but were they leaning towards Colorado beating Oregon, or was it more so just
some people predicted Colorado was going to beat Oregon. Actually, a person in our leaderboard predicted Colorado was going to beat Oregon. We're not tracking predictions on college football, so it's not really counting toward our actual quantitative data that we're gathering. We may do that in the future, but this year we didn't do any. We're not capturing predictions on college football, so it didn't impact this person's numbers or anything. But yeah, there was a lot of sports analysts that picked Colorado to win. And we're genuinely surprised when they lost. And I'm like, Coach Prime told you he needs 7 to 8 more dogs. Yeah. Like, he does not have the line on offense or defense to really compete consistently. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna lose all the games coming up. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, right.
All I'm saying is that's definitely a weakness of his actual program, and it can be exploited. Now, there's a lot of film that's going to come out of this Oregon game. Are USC coaches and other coaches going to use that film to devise a plan? If they're smart, they would.
Sure.
So we'll see exactly how that plays out. All right. So did you have anything else before we close that segment? All right. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. We've opened up the phone lines before. Give us a call at 281-942-7433. Give us a call right now, and we'll get you live on the air. And we'll talk about some of the actual points we've been making tonight. So give us a call, 281-942-7433. The phone lines are now open. Let's see if we get a call here real quick. I'm hoping that we can get some people engaged and get some people on the actual phone to talk about some of these actual topics. I know I had a couple people that were planning on calling in, so we'll give it a couple more minutes.
I thought I had some of my friends who might call in, but we'll see.
We were a little long. It's already 8:48, so I hope
we didn't miss
anybody. But yeah,
sometimes when we get into these topics, they just kind of flow, so you kind of get into it.
So let's see it real quick. Hello, I got somebody on the line. Hello, you there? Can you hear me? Yeah, I got you right now. Make sure you don't have anything going on in the back. I'm going to go ahead and get you positioned to actually talk. Let me give you a quick little intro and lead in, all right? All right, here we go. All right, so we do have one of our, and this is going to be a segment on the actual show because I like my guy's energy. He always calls in. He's a big time sports guy. I know he's watching the sports. I know he's participating in the app and putting predictions in. So I definitely know he sees value in the whole project. And we're going to make space for anyone who wants to be a part of this actual program. Remember, if you are a sports content creator and you would like to form your own podcast or your own show of some sort on this new exciting league, we are looking for affiliate podcast developers to actually get involved. You can get with us. We will give you the actual data, and the data is coming in. It's very quality data. You can use that data to shape your own show so you can talk about this new and exciting league. So if you would like to be involved, we are going to make room for people to be involved. We've made rooms for this gentleman. I'm going to go ahead and introduce you. Hey, I'm going to call you Alabama Slim if that's okay. From Birmingham, Alabama, I got my homeboy. Come on, man. What you want to talk about today? Hi, hey, before we go into it. Really?
Good evening, brother. Good evening.
Hold on. Before we go into it, I got one thing to say to you. You ready?
Yeah.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, man, how about them Cowboys, man? Real quick, man. How you doing, Kyle? What's up?
What's going on,
How
Slim?
y'all doing, buddy? Yeah, right. What's up, man? It's Slim from Birmingham.
What's up,
the
brother? How you doing,
Cowboys, man.
Hey, what's
It's
up?
the time what's going on with Dak, man?
I don't know, man. You telling me. This
that's
your
right.
segment.
I'm watching the
Hey,
game.
listen. I want to hear you talk. When you give a pause in your conversation about Dak, then we're going to jump in and we're going to give you little opinions based on what you say. But this is your time, brother. What you got?
Man, I'm sitting here drinking my beer watching America's team, right? That's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm sitting here like, somebody need to go kick Dak in his ass. I'm watching this, man, and the defense, were we just one player, man? We got beat by Arizona Cardinals. Josh Downs ain't won a game since Tennessee. But anyway, I ain't gonna trash my team. I still love my team, man. But somebody got to kick Dak in the ass.
Hey, let me say something real quick. I know. Hey, listen to you. Some Cowboy fans are some of the most dedicated fans of any sport in any area. Cowboy fans, they ride or die with the actual team. They still living off the 80s, but hey, that's okay.
Every year we going to the Super Bowl.
Every year is their year, and you know.
Going.
He said you know it.
Every year is their year. So I you have a lot of sports casters who are very negative on the Cowboys, or they're negative in person. Like Stephen A. Smith, he always is negative about the Cowboys. He always thinks it's funny to laugh
It
about
was
it.
a hard time. Then we do this like we did the other day. It's crazy.
Yeah, but then Stephen A. Smith, he'll be on the jet or the helicopter with Jerry Jones, toasting up. So I think that's all an act. I think Jerry Jones probably appreciates when Stephen A. Smith just mentions the Cowboys in any capacity. It doesn't matter because, sometimes it's better to be hated. Like, people will watch you to hate you. People will watch you to hate you. Just like when you think about Floyd Mayweather. When he was Pretty Boy, nobody really cared. But when he changed his persona to Money Mayweather, then everybody watched because they loved either they loved the Money Mayweather persona or they hated the Pretty Boy, the Money Mayweather persona. So they watched it whether they loved it or they hated it. So I think it's the same thing with the Cowboys and Jerry Jones and the fact that he will even embrace Stephen A. Smith, even though Stephen A. Smith makes a habit out of being negative about the Cowboys.
All promo is good promo.
Yeah. What else you got, Slim?
Man, I've never seen a team since I've been living score 70 points in an NFL game. Have you guys?
Yeah, man, that was crazy. Give me your whole take on it, and then we'll follow up with you. What you got on that game?
Tua, man.
Tua? Okay.
Tua. And the coach is a young guy who knows how to relate to these young players. Back to Stafford and what his wife coming on IG saying out loud, but these people down here in Miami and this coach with Tua, man, it's something special with Tua, man. It's something special. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, let me say something about Tua real quick. Well, first of all, you had anything on Tua?
Go ahead.
So when Tua came to Alabama, Tua was the person, if I'm not mistaken, hey, Slim, correct me if I'm wrong, but Tua was the person who actually pushed Hurts out of his position, right?
Correct, in the championship.
Yes.
Clutch moment.
So Tua and his success pushed Hurts out of his championship. Now, I'm a big Hurts fan, so I kind of hated to see Hurts, be pushed out the way he got pushed out. But Tua was quality. I mean, he's a quality to back.
That was the year of the backups because I want to say that was 17.
Don't make me lie. But it's possible
that
around
was the
the
year
time.
17 because that was the same year the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and that's when Nick Foles came in. That's why I always call it the year of the backups. But yeah, same thing.
And then Tua also, he's having not Hall of Fame. He's having a MVP season so far in 3 games in. What do you think, Sloan?
Yes. I mean, come on. Nobody can argue with that, right?
Yeah.
America, am I talking to America? Nobody can argue with that.
And another thing is, they got some talent on that team,
Tyreek,
bro.
man.
Tyreek Hill.
He's got,
Yes.
is it the most, I think he's got the most receiving yards
Is
or
it
most
like the
TDs.
new, do you guys remember the Rams?
Yeah.
The greatest show
on turf. Yeah.
Is it like a revamped Rams, like in this new generation?
It could be, bro.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, hey, some people mentioned, but a lot of people ain't even think about this. Waddle didn't even play.
Yeah.
Waddle was sick. Waddle's crazy, bro, and he didn't even play. So, just imagine if Waddle was on the field as well doing this route. I mean, it would have got ugly. And the thing about it is, they pulled the gas off. They could have went for the record.
Yeah.
What's the record?
Yeah.
I think the record's 73. Correct me if I'm wrong, man.
I think you're correct.
I think the record is 73, and they pulled off.
Right.
I think they had opportunity to kick a
They
field goal. And I
did. In
think
the
they
fourth
pulled
quarter,
off.
none of the main players played.
Well, the coach was in the stands talking to the fans, having a beer and having popcorn with
Wow.
him. So
Yeah, it was a rough one.
So he had time to they had time to figure it out. But
Hey,
that was a great game though.
My dad is a big time Miami fan. He grew up in Miami. I'm trying to remember the area he said he grew up in. It was one of the rough spots of Miami. He grew up in that particular area. So I know he's a big time Miami fan. I know he's happy about what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just have to see exactly if they keep it going and if they can keep it going, right? Because it's a long season.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see. We'll revisit the Miami Dolphins. Let's say, how about week 6? Let's put it on our calendar to revisit and make a segment about Miami and see exactly where they're at in week 6.
We got to see who has a cold defense to go up against them. I want to say, I think the Eagles play. I don't think we played them.
Yeah,
I think it's week 6.
I think
it's week 6 that we do play them.
So I want to see what happens after week 6 because I think that'll be a great matchup. And I would like to see both of those teams continue to play well. So when they meet up, it's a real significant game. Hey Slim, you got another topic
agree
for
with
us?
you guys. I totally agree with you guys.
What else you got for us, brother?
Man, on another note, anybody paying attention to what's going on with Chandler Jones?
Oh, I missed this one. I'm out of the loop on that one. You're gonna have to educate me. What you got?
Oh man, he's one of the best defensive tackles in NFL. Played for the Las Vegas Raiders.
All right.
They're going back and forth on a contract dispute. When they're supposed to just go and pay him, the owner is reaching out, doing some things in business that I never heard of. But he was hospitalized against his will the other day.
Oh,
He said he was hospitalized against his will, man.
I did hear
It's all
about
over
that.
a contract. It's getting outrageous.
Didn't he get online and say something about they gave him some shots of some unknown substance something that he wasn't wasn't willing to take.
Yes, you own it. That's correct. It's something going on, man. Not that by that right, man. I love the programming. You know what I mean? But there's something going on with Chandler Jones' situation, man. Just to throw us on another loop. But yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to look into today and keep my ears out and see exactly if I can find out exactly what's going on there.
Did you guys see the owner pick up Joe Burrow?
Wait, what happened with Joe Burrow?
When the owner picked him up in the golf cart in the middle of practice.
No, I didn't see that. What did you think about them actually playing Joe Burrow? He clearly wasn't healthy, and not only did they play him.
I told you week 1 what was going on with Joe Burrow and this calf strain is serious, man.
Yeah, they better watch out. They better watch
We
out
gotta
with Joe
come back
Burrow.
to this in like week 6.
Yeah,
you know
what?
we gotta come back to that to week 6 because I've been watching these type of things and I think I'm on to something. But I'm a player, man, so I ain't gonna wish nothing negative on a player. Shout out to Joe for pushing through the injury.
Hey, go ahead, man.
I think they definitely overplayed him because I want to say he had 49 pass attempts.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how much Joe Mixon did. I don't know how much Joe Mixon did, but I mean, like you gotta make some run plays or make it easy for him. Get the check down play, have him run a screen so he's not trying to toss the ball 40 yards down the field. Give him a break, but. I don't know.
Now, I understand why they played him. They were 0 for 2. 0 for 3 is pretty much guaranteeing you're not going to make the playoffs. They've been too successful to just go from making, if I'm not mistaken, the conference finals 2 years in a row to not making the playoffs at all. So I think they felt like they were their back was against the wall. So they could play him, but the way that they played him, a sports analyst mentioned this. I was watching, and I agree with him 100%. You could play him, but to have him throw, I think he threw like 30 passes in the first half and another 19 in the second half is ridiculous. Like, use your running backs. Like, use your running backs. Give some short plays where you don't really have to push off that ankle heavy to get the ball downfield. I just thought it was very poorly how they played it. And mind you, I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. Check out the LSU Tigers and Joe Burrow's the quarterback on arguably the best football team to ever play college football.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? The best team. You know what I'm saying? Say what you want. But them boys did, and they did it in a major way, smoking on that cigar after that dub at Death Valley in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What you know about it?
Oh my goodness, they got that from Bama. I gotta say that they got that from Bama.
I know you're an Alabama fan. I have to give you help.
Yeah, I hear that, man. Either way, man, much love to you guys, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the segment. And yo, man, by way right, keep going, guys.
Hey, man, let me ask you a question. You gonna come back next week for us?
I'm waiting, man. I'm ready to keep going right now. How about Saquon Barkley?
Oh, man, hold on. I got to let you go. We got to wrap it up. We're almost at the end. But save that comment about Saquon Barkley, all right? Hey, how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
All right, fam. I'll holler at you.
Have a good one.
Peace.
All right, the phone lines are back open. If you are interested in calling in and talking about some of the topics, the phone number is 281-942-7433. That's 281-942-7433. We'll leave the lines open for a little bit to see exactly if we can get another caller on the line here. But I like his energy, man. He calls in. He's always excited, and he's extremely knowledgeable about sports. I know he's a competitor. So, yeah, we're going to have to get him back on the show, man. Mm-hmm. He really, really brings adds value to the actual show. Once again, give us a call if you would like to call in now. 281-942-7433. The phone lines are now open. You have anything else real quick?
Back to that Joe Burrow thing. I remember we were talking about Shannon and Ocho Cinco having that, I guess having that little that show, I guess that evening nightcap, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. But Ocho, he was saying, like, after watching the Cincinnati game, and I don't know if I really agreed with this opinion, but he said that the Bengals are back, but not back where they want to be, but they're on the track of being back. Now, I don't know if I really agree with that, because based on the conversations that we just had here today, we don't really know the status of Joe Burrow. Like, I mean, he looked like he was kind of nursing that calf the whole game, so I don't know if I really agree with that opinion. Yeah, they're back, and as in they won the game, but I mean, that was, I mean, it's not like they were, it was a big win or anything like that. I mean, they were fighting for that win all game.
Yeah, it was a tough game. They didn't win.
I don't know if Joe can do that again.
Yeah, they didn't win by large margin, but they got the W, and they have another week for him to actually, rehab and see exactly how close he can get back to 100%. Will he make it to 100% by next week? I don't think so. Oh, we do have another call in. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get this person on. Hey, hello? Hey, what's going on, man? Give me 1 second. Let me get you queued up here. I'd like for you to 1 second here, and we'll get you going, all right? Hey, go ahead and introduce yourself. What's your name?
My name is Matt Shanks out of Houston, Texas.
Matt Shanks out of Houston, Texas. How's it going, man? What's up do you want to talk about today?
How you doing, Matt?
Hey, man, I just want to give you guys props for what you guys are doing. I believe the content is awesome. And I kind of wanted to bring up something new.
Okay,
I wanted to reference something you guys have been talking about in the last few podcasts.
Okay.
So the fantasy sports situation, you guys talked about it in your last episode about how that kind of drives the NFL.
Yeah. Right.
And, man, I can tell you, I participate in 12 different leagues every year. And I am just a junkie when it comes to football on the weekends. But what I wanted to encourage you guys to do on the front of –
Hello, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. So, encourage us to do on the front of –
So you guys are doing predictions on games and everything. From a fantasy football standpoint, it would be awesome because there's so many predictions on fantasy football players every week. And I know that's a lot more detailed than just teams playing and winning. But that would be extremely interesting content to be able to watch that and see how these sportscasters actually predict how players are going to do and how they actually perform on a weekly basis.
Okay, gotcha.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you're aware, Matt, but we do have a app available in the Apple store right now, and we have our Google Play version of the app currently in production. But we're not the only persons actually gathering this information as far as the predictions are concerned. Anyone who downloads the app to their phones as they're observing their sports media content, they themselves can go and they can input the actual predictions that they have actually observed. So if you don't have the app, download it. We'd love to actually get you involved in the actual league. And what we would do, because we've already been working behind the scenes as far as adding functionality and whatnot to the actual app. So we'll continue to work on that, and we will see exactly how we can incorporate some fantasy football statistics or predictions in the actual app. That's a great idea, because I know, like you said, fantasy football is probably one of the best things to happen to the NFL in a long
Best
time.
promotion for the best thing.
Hey, Matt, you had anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well, I'll tell you this, all of the things that you guys talked about, they're on point, man, and I appreciate the content. You guys discussed last week on the leaderboard. There was a show that had 5 of the top 10 people on that show.
Yeah.
I had no idea even about that show.
Me either.
And,
I didn't either.
Just
exactly.
from y'all's content, I'm gonna watch that show now, because I want to see if those guys are on point, like you guys are saying.
Hey, give them a shot.
Hold them accountable.
Yeah, give them a shot. I like the show. I've watched it, and like I said, they're not scared to make picks and put their
opinions out.
Put their opinions, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Put their opinions where their mouth is. A lot of people just do a lot of talking, but they'll do a lot of talking as well, and they're very creative and very funny and whatnot with the actual show, but they're going to make picks. They're going to make picks.
Is that a daily show?
Put it. Yes, it's a daily show. It comes on FS1.
Matt, do this for me. When you watch football this weekend, listen to these sportscasters and just kind of take note of who actually makes predictions and who doesn't. When you're watching, you'll see kind of how they'll dance around the topic or dance around actually make a prediction once you actually start getting into it. But that's kind of what we notice here on the show, and even through the app, because I've been talking about it all week with Shannon not only being at one pick from what we're gathering from the app, so which is kind of upsetting because he's probably one of my favorite sportscasters. But yeah, just watch out for that this week. Any of you?
Oh, believe me, I'm gonna be looking for predictions now. I got the app,
definitely.
and I'm gonna be providing data.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Hey, thanks for the call in. I appreciate it a lot.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, you too. All right, man. 2 calls there.
Cool.
Let's leave the call open just for another second while we go ahead and close up. If someone calls in immediately, we may be able to squeeze you in. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and move to closing. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Based on the leaderboard this week, I'm excited where the leaderboards are at. I'm like we were saying, I'm excited to see the shifts in the leaderboard and see people get added to the leaderboards, people jump off the leaderboard. So we see it's very volatile. Getting starting off in the league, but I think as we move in later on into the league, I think it'll kind of mellow out and kind of level out, and we'll start kind of shaping who's going to actually run these leaderboards. But I think within the first this first half of football, I think it's going to be very volatile. But what do you think?
I agree. I agree 100%. Like I said, seeing the data come in, seeing the actual data come in, and seeing exactly how these sports analysts and sportscasters are shifting and moving, and now we're actually paying attention, because we always knew sportcasters made poor decisions or poor predictions.
That's why we got the show.
Exactly. A lot of times when they make poor predictions, no one ever really bothered to talk about it. Like, they'll just brush it off. But to see it actually stick, that prediction, that poor prediction you make, is going to live with you. It's going to live with you this entire season. That good quality prediction you made, that's going to live with you. It's a little different when they stick, and it's going to actually carry weight and move forward with through the actual season. So I'm really excited about it. We've gotten a lot of good feedback, and I really appreciate the people that called in for us. Thanks a lot for that, and we'll move on with closing the show. But before we close every show, we got to finish with my favorite segment, the challenge. All right. Let me go ahead and play that graphic again. That graphic didn't play right. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it play from the beginning. All right. So let's see here. Is it there? Actually, I don't see it. All right. Well, the challenge is there. So let's just leave the challenge there. We're up to day 21 of the challenge. And for those who don't know exactly what the challenge is us, by our right, inviting professional sportscasters to, instead of us having to go and track them down and track down their predictions off all these shows, submit your predictions to the show. We're opening up for you to submit your predictions to the show. Submit the predictions. We'll get the predictions inputted in the actual app, so we can make certain that we're getting all of your predictions and none of your predictions are slipping through the actual cracks. And we would need to verify your identity, because we don't want Susie Q from around the way saying that she's Stephen A. So we would need whoever decides to take us up on this actual challenge to actually call in or do a Zoom call to identify yourself and you will be the first person to actually voluntarily participate in this new and exciting league. Because the question mark still stands. I think the question mark is still out there.
Yeah.
And that question mark that I'm talking about is these people who commentate, these sportscasters, professional sportscasters who commentate on sports all the time.
Right.
Are they competitive?
Yeah.
Are they competitive?
In a sports term, you know, the ones who play sports, I guess we could say they were competitive. But I mean, as far as this new league, I mean, we have yet to know.
Yeah, we'll find out though eventually.
Definitely.
At some point, someone's gonna actually step up. I think. Now I think that number may get high. Like I know you said it was gonna. Did you think it was gonna get high? A long time ago?
I definitely said it was gonna. I said it was definitely gonna get high.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was. I think it's gonna get high as well. But remember, there's a couple things that make me think that it may not get as high as I originally thought. One thing is because now you have other individuals who I know are competitive getting involved in this whole sports media, and they would count. Like if a Gilly the Kid, or if a Cameron and Mace, or Ocho Cinco, like some of these guys, I know they're competitive, and I know they would value the competition. So that right there was something I'm like, you know what? There are some people who I think really have a competitive drive that would welcome the opportunity to compete against some of these other people who, although they may be, because Stephen A is like at the top of the top. There's no real benefit for Stephen A to get involved in any of
like
this.
You always said, there's no real upside.
There's no upside for him. He's already there. The only thing Stephen A can do is
stay on the leaderboards.
No, I'm saying like he's on the leaderboard. I don't want to go negative on Stephen A. He's ranked number 6 again. He was on the leaderboard last year, so I have to acknowledge that. But what I was going to say was, he's not going to improve by winning this actual thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but there are some people who may be like a C tier sports analyst or a D tier sports analyst that could move up, and not only could move up, they could win, and then they would be officially identified as the first champion of a league where sportscasters competed against each other. That's historic. Yeah. Because I don't think it's going away. I think when you think about the concept of sportscasters actually competing, I think you realize that, it's only logical. They talk about competition. Their whole industry is built around observing competitors and critiquing competitors, yet they do not compete. Right. So now, you know, I just don't think it will ever not happen. I think somehow this competition will live on.
The fact about it is, I mean, we're just two people here, and then we have, you know, the different people who also agree with the concept. As the information gets out there, as a league grows, as a podcast grows, as the NSL, you know, actual league actually grows bigger and wider in its reach, it's going to be hard to kind of run from the competition. I mean, people are going to be asking them about, you know, their numbers in the NSL league. I mean, it's going to come up in the conversation. Yeah, I agree 100%. I predict by the end of this football season, it'll be talked about on TV.
You know, I can't believe I didn't do this already, but we have to do this. We need to be more diligent about it. We're so excited to get straight to the numbers that we forget to tell you guys to do us a big favor. Like, comment, follow, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications. Go to our YouTube page. We need to get our algorithm in the right area so we can kind of get this whole project out there. So like the content, follow our actual socials, comment on the actual content.
Keep calling in.
Yeah, keep calling in. Get your opinions out here. We'd love to hear from you guys. All right, but that's it, man. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks for you guys for joining us, and we're out.
I hear you talking opinions, but where your facts at? I think it's time that we pull up and do a fact check. Hung again, we calling you to the circle. I'm tired of hearing the bull. I'm questioning your discernment, Like how you question the people that's really earned it, the people that's really working. Type of stuff for the circus.